Have you ever picked up something old and felt a strange sense of peace? Maybe an old book with yellow pages, maybe your grandfather's watch, maybe a childhood toy, or something you found in a thrift shop that just felt right. And you didn't even know why it felt right, it just did. Most people see old objects and think, that's junk. But you feel something deeper. You feel connected. You feel comforted. You feel something real. And believe it or not, there's an actual psychology behind why some people love old objects so much. It's not random. It's not weird. It actually shows some beautiful things about your personality. So let's talk about that. There's a certain type of person who gets drawn to old objects. Maybe that's you. Maybe you're someone who feels more calm holding something that has a story, something that has been through time, something that wasn't made yesterday. And if that sounds like you, then listen closely, because this says something meaningful about the way you view the world. Life today moves so quickly. New trends, new apps, new updates, new problems. Sometimes it feels like everything changes the second you get used to it. So when you hold something old, it feels like the world finally slows down for a moment. Old objects don't change. They don't rush. They don't demand anything from you. They're still. And when you're overwhelmed, when you're behind on your work, when you're procrastinating because you don't feel ready, when you're doubting yourself, or when life feels chaotic, that stillness is exactly what your mind needs. That's why people who love old objects often feel comfort just by touching them. It gives you a pause, a break, a moment to breathe. You might not say it out loud, but deep down, your mind is looking for something steady, something safe, something grounded. Old objects give you that. Here's something many people don't realize. People who love old objects often love things that were made with intention. Old objects were built slowly. They were built by hand. They were built to last. And people like you notice these things. You see the stitching in an old bag. You feel the weight of an old camera. You appreciate the tiny imperfections that make an object unique. This says something big about your personality. You respect effort. You respect quality. You respect patience. And maybe you're also someone who gets frustrated with yourself because you think you're too slow. Maybe you look at other people and feel like they're moving faster than you. Maybe you feel behind. But here's the truth. Things that are built slowly are usually stronger, more meaningful, more lasting. Just like old objects, your life doesn't need to rush to be valuable. Your pace is not a problem. Your pace is simply different, and that's what makes you who you are. Some people don't care about memories. Some people don't keep anything from their past. Some people throw things away the second they stop using them. But not you. You hold on to things. A letter, a photo, a toy, a necklace, a book, a drawing, a note, even if nobody else understands why those things matter to you. And here's why. You feel deeply. You don't forget moments. You don't forget people. You don't forget emotions. And that's not weakness. That's emotional intelligence. Maybe when you're sad or burned out, you look through old memories. Maybe you rewatch childhood movies because they make you feel safe. Maybe old objects help remind you of who you are when life feels confusing. This is not you being stuck. This is you understanding what comforts your heart. This is emotional awareness, something many adults struggle with, but you naturally have. This might sound strange, but it's true. People who love old objects often want their life to feel more meaningful, more slow, more peaceful, more intentional, more human. Think about it. Old objects represent things we rarely see today. Slowness, patience, quality, story, craftsmanship, presence. And without even realizing it, you might want these things in your own life too. Maybe you're tired of rushing. Maybe you're tired of comparing yourself to others. Maybe you're tired of feeling like you always need to catch up. Old objects quietly teach you something. You don't need to rush. You don't need to chase everything. You don't need to prove you're fast. You just need to live with intention. That's why old objects feel good to you, because they reflect the kind of life your heart is craving. This might be the deepest part. Old objects have lived through time. They've existed through different hands, different moments, and different stories. When you hold something old, it reminds you of something powerful. You're not the only person who has struggled. You're not the only person who has felt lost. You're not the only person who has felt behind. You're not the only person who has questioned life. People before you felt the same things, and somehow they kept going. Old objects carry proof that human life has always been messy, complicated, beautiful, and emotional, and that makes you feel less alone. It makes your problems feel more normal. It helps you understand that your feelings are part of something bigger. That's why old objects can calm you in ways that new objects never can. So if you feel a strong connection to old objects, here's what it says about you. You value meaning, not noise. You crave stability, not chaos. You appreciate effort, not shortcuts. You feel deeply, not weakly. You want a life that is slow, intentional, and full of heart. And maybe, without even knowing it, old objects have been giving you life lessons all along. You don't need to rush. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to compare your pace to anyone else's. You just need to start with one honest step. So try this tonight. Pick up something old that you love. Hold it quietly for a moment. Look at its details. Feel its weight. Let it remind you that your story is still in progress, and you're allowed to take your time. Let's improve together. I'll see you in the next one.